States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I will go ahead and do the roll call tonight. Rob Toyer?
Here.
Yvonne Gallardo-Van Ornum?
Here.
Leisha Novak?
Here.
Michelle Bly?
Here.
Jan Schwetty?
Present.
Deborah Nelson and Heather Logan have excused absences.
Mayor Vanny, I move for approval of the agenda.
Second.
Question?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to our first workshop item, the employee handbook policy updates. Sean.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mayor and Council. I'd like to bring a few policies to you. These are more of a cleanup. We've done this kind of work and we've been practicing it, so it's really putting it down into policy and writing it down. So the first one is for termination of employment. We really wanted to address what just abandoning, what does abandoning a job mean, and what's the time frame on that one. And then there were some acronyms, so we want to make sure we spelled out what was there, and then defining what would be COBRA payments, how they would do payments for health care after somebody was terminated. So that's the first policy is the 217. And then the holiday policy, we've adopted Juneteenth as a holiday and has been in practice, so we just wanted to put it into the document. And then the 508, it's for deferred comp match for non-represented employees. The other employees have that in their contracts, so this was something that we've had in place. And we've moved it from a 1% to a 2%, but it never was actually adopted as policy. So we're documenting that. And the last one is meal breaks. We just wanted to document that we give them at least a 30-minute meal break, just more language that we just need to make sure we were following what the law was. So I'm open for any questions if you have any.
Any questions? Oh, none seen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the second item. We'll move on to our second item, ordinance adopting Island Crossing Sub-Area Plan and Planned Action. Amy.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor Vanny and members of council. So I had a really great presentation today. I got told to speed it up. So, so tonight we're finally talking about the Island Crossing Sub-Area Plan. So bear with me. This is a little bit. So I know that's what I'm just. Okay. Well, I'll just summarize. So these are the sections. How about that? These are the sections of the sub-area plan and how it's laid out. So we have the introductory chapters, tell the background, vision, concepts. Our strategy chapters, those are the 4 items that are covered: our natural environment, land use and urban design, transportation, public service, and utilities. Then we have our implementation chapter, and then our appendices are the existing conditions, background information, our public engagement summaries, and then our zoning and development standard recommendations, which are also a separate item tonight. So in case everyone doesn't know where Island Crossing is, this is a beautiful aerial. So it's kind of a fun little area between Smoky Point Boulevard and I-5, and then it goes about 700 feet north of 530 and ends at Portage Creek on the south end, where our right-of-way goes just down to the road. So I will just do my maps. So natural environment. So you can see the, oops, maybe you can see. It looked a lot clearer on my map. So over here, you can see these areas. So this is the triangle where the River Rock is. That's outside the floodplain. The fire station, this property, thank you, Don. And then it goes into here where the coffee stand is. So all these areas outside of blue are not in the floodway. and then there's also a little piece over here. Everything else is within the 100-year floodplain. Then some more fun maps. So this is just showing the flood hazard area. So everything in blue is zone AE, which is what, within that zone you have to build 1 foot above base flood elevation. So that's, well, everything that's blue that is besides the areas that I mentioned. And then you can see where the Stillaguamish is and where the actual floodwaters or the main river goes. And then this is a map that's pretty cool. This is our hydraulic and hydrological modeling. So the blue is the river, and then it shows, so this dark blue is what we've all been talking about. So this spot right here is the low spot. I'm really not shaking, but so this low spot right below the blue, or the 3, is the natural area. So when it floods, that's exactly right where it goes. This is the current compensatory storage area that Pilot has on the Hankin property. Also Tech bought into that stormwater or the compensatory storage there too. So you can kind of see like where that flows, and that's what influenced some of our information within the sub-area. See, I'm making it quick. So then we go into some land use and urban design. So with the sub-area plan, we're allowed to change up permitted uses, define different zoning districts. So we made 3 different zones. We have IC1, IC2, and IC3. So I'm going to start with IC3. So the IC is island crossing. Should have clarified that. Us and our acronyms. So IC3 is going to stay exactly how it is today. So there were no changes to the zoning or permitted uses. In IC1, we allowed hotels up to 100 feet and removed gas stations. IC2, no hotels, no gas stations. Everything else pretty much stays the same. I do want to point out that with the zoning, it kind of goes into the next chapter when I'm going to talk about it a little bit more, but I'll mention it now. With the removal of the gas stations within the permitted use, I did allow for a caveat. So if a gas station is in the floodplain, they're allowed to demolish their entire site, if that's what they so choose, and rebuild their gas station elevated above the floodplain. So what happens when we change the permitted uses, it becomes a legal non-conforming. Then the legal non-conforming has to meet certain regulations, and they're not usually allowed to expand, rebuild, or keep the same use. They can change owners, but they can't keep that. So I just wanted to point out that the gas stations that are there are allowed to stay and remain, and they can even tear down and build back up on their same property. So just wanted to point that out. Here are some of the design standards. I won't read everything. So we're looking for agricultural theme. So we have some barn type kind of roofs. That is what we're going for, and some siding. This one's, I think the top 2 are metal siding. So metal's fine, it just has to look nice. Then they have to have eaves. Most barns and agricultural have eaves over, that hang over. Here's some more examples. Sorry, they're not very clear. It seemed like they would be, but they're not up here. So that's showing the one on the far right is like could be like a car dealership, what's there. And then we have things, a hotel and restaurant on the left, and then some agricultural, it's like seating looking out over the agricultural fields in the middle. We also did some inner site connectivity. So if you see the dotted lines, that's where we're hoping roads go. So they might shift a little bit, but right now, I'm assuming everyone knows, maybe not, but you can actually drive from Denny's to Pilot without actually getting on 530. So you just have to weave around. And so what we're trying to do is create access points, so it's just not a free-for-all right along the 530 corridor. This is, we got a lot of flack for this, so I just want to, through our public meetings, so I want to explain this one a little bit. We just threw a baseball field in there. If that happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It was just to show that it potentially could be some sort of recreation, and that was really the only way to show it. So if it remains grass and it's a field, fine. It's not something we're going after. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows that we're not trying to put a baseball field in there. If it works one day, it's great. It's just really expensive to put in. So we'd rather get the the stormwater compensatory storage under control before we start looking at recreation. And then building placement and things like that this is 100% conceptual, a theological site plan just to get it to show people what could happen. These building placements may or may not happen as well. The street portion, yes, but not the buildings themselves. Transportation, so you kind of saw in the last one. This is what we're looking for. On the far right over here, you can see this is the 530 Smoky Point Boulevard roundabout that's currently with Jim, I think, under some design. And then this one is in our transportation master plan. This will be a bigger deal with WashDOT, and that's their intersection. It's actually the city limits. So we're going to have to work with them on this one. This is the one that we're looking for within the sub area and making these improvements as part of the street system. This is just took a clip out. This shows the cost estimate from the transportation master plan for the Smoky Point Boulevard SR 530 roundabout, and then the SR 530 improvements. Along with the roadway, it will need to be raised. So from the triangle on the east to I-5, that section in there will need to be raised up, which then also creates more stormwater. So there's still a lot of work to do out here for that part. Public services and utilities. We have the Olympic pipeline that runs diagonal through the sub-area, so that's a challenge for roadway design. This is, if you remember correct, this is the low spot on this side. So it kind of runs right through the low spot of where we're looking at upgrading the culvert. And then for development purposes, everyone has to stay out of their easement area. This is our water system. So there are 2 projects that will be going out there. So this is the water system main upgrades. These will be city developer funded. So DF on that, it means developer funded. These are the 2 sewer. Jim's actually doing, there's 4 listed, but it's just the way I cut it and pasted it. So it's lift station 11 is getting repaired, I think right now, or 26. And then, but you can see that lift station 11 only feeds this green line right here. And then this is a brand new lift station 14, and this is where this line will have to come from. So it's a pretty big project. And it will also connect, I think, with the force main that comes down here. And then implementation, so some immediate action that we're looking at doing is adopting the new zoning development design standards, which will be the next item. We're looking at trying to do a larger study on some flood control, improve SR 530, and then look at fostering relationships and building partnerships with people that own the property, and then also with the farmers outside in the county to try to see what we can do to help each other out. And then we have a whole action table. Every goal and policy within the plan is within the action summary table, and it tells us who is responsible for it, the cost estimates, priorities, and potential timing. And then your appendices. That's the summary. That's about as fast as I can go, Michelle.
Any questions? Jan?
Yes, I have a question. When you had the meeting with the property owners and business owners at Island Crossing, what were their responses to this?
All of them? Like, do you want a summary or?
A summary would be
Okay.
good.
I can give you the page numbers that they're on. We included every comment within the FEIS that was sent out. There was one property owner that's not pleased with it. The rest of them really don't have a problem as a whole. The main thing is traffic. Everybody's, even the city's. The city's biggest concerns were compensatory storage, flooding, stormwater, and traffic. And that kind of held true across the board. One property owner wants a truck stop, so that's the unhappy one. And farmers, so some of the farmers we were trying to do we had some different options when we were going through it, because we didn't know where the information was going to take us. That's how we started the Sudbury plan, is these are our goals. So we went down different paths and explored different stormwater ideas. So one of the ideas was to lower all the agricultural fields. They did not like that. They did not want that, so we stopped. Well, because it can serve, in theory, it can serve two purposes. They can still farm it, and it could also serve as additional flood capacity. So the first thing that we looked at, it didn't supply enough flood for the amount of work that would have taken to do the permitting to get that done. It did not give us really a gain in the compensatory storage category. And so we were already kind of wiping it before we met with them, and then it just confirmed that we needed to not go down that path. It's kind of it in a nutshell.
Okay, well, one of my concerns is actually the land across I-5 on the other side. How much is county? Because Dave Summers really wants to put more stuff out there. And I know. I've
On the
been
west side of?
personally- On the other side, not in our city limits, but on the other side of I-5 that has the same entrance that we have for 530. But over there, Savannah and all that. And that's a big concern of mine.
Okay. Any other question? Michelle?
You said that gas stations could rebuild, but they would
Yes.
rebuild and be the same size and everything, right? They couldn't
I mean,
spread
we
out
would-
or?
Yeah, I mean, we would let them adjust a little bit, but yeah, but pretty much with the
Basically.
size they are, yeah.
And then on your map, on your lovely maps, up in the top left-hand corner where those houses are those stay in there?
Oh.
You know what
Yep.
houses I'm talking about?
By Wellers,
Huh?
the north of the Wellers,
Yes.
yeah. Right now, yes, but,
I'm just curious.
yeah. So we do have 4 houses. 4 residential homes are still within the sub-area, but they're all legal non-conforming, so once they're done, they're done. And so they can convert to commercial.
Yeah, I was just going to say, but they're part of the sub-area plan,
Yes.
so they can redevelop
Yes,
to any use that's in Zone 1
yep.
for those.
Oh, yeah, for those 2, yes.
Any other questions? Okay, unseen. Thank you, Amy. We'll move on to your next one.
This one will be faster because it's just design standards, but I felt like I needed to keep it part of the presentation, but apparently I don't. So basically everything I just said got put into standards, development standards. So we have a part 1 with general information, and then we have part 2 is the design standards that go into specific things like site planning, vehicular access and parking, pedestrian access, building design. So I got you some new pictures. You saw that before, but this is part of the zoning for this. Here's another street network. We identified it as arterial, high priority, other streets, and then through block connections. And then within the standards, we describe what each one of those means and what they need to design to. I did not include those for you. Here is just a hypothetical of what we're kind of looking for or what we believe the standards might be able to achieve. So everything in red is the pedestrian connections. So this is like on the internal site, not on 530. So none of these roads are 530. This would be like within the site, what we're trying to create is where people can park in one location and walk to multiple different places within. So that was another kind of misconception when we started this, that we wanted this to be like a mixed-use area. So I just want to verify it's not mixed use, it's all commercial, but we still want to provide those pedestrian access and connections so people aren't having to drive from one store to another unless they want to or need to. Here's an example of like an outdoor plaza. So say that was facing north towards the county agricultural fields and the river. You'd have a nice dining area or for a place for people to hang out, talk, chat while they're shopping, eating, whatever store's there. And then here's some more design. I think that top one was on the other ones, but there's a couple other designs. And we are just looking for agricultural theme. We don't want a barn built and then put something, a commercial in it. We wanted to definitely have that commercial look, but just have the features of the agricultural. Oh, and this is my fun map. This one, you'll get I need to get my little stat sheet, sorry. Oh, maybe I lost it. It was, I think so we have 6 gas stations in 0.4 miles. So that was just my fun thing to point out when we were talking about gas stations. So that ratio is higher than the county, state, and the rest of Arlington for that amount of space. So just wanted to point that out. And that is it.
Any questions?
I'll just mention, the reason why it's coming to you in 2 parts is that when Amy and I went through it, we thought separating this out so that if the design standards, when they need to be updated in the future, we can do that without opening the whole sub-area plan up. So that's the reason why you're going to see it in 2, or we see it in 2 ordinances for next week.
Thank you for mentioning that.
Great, great. Any questions? None seen?
Can I ask a question of council?
Sure.
Next week at the meeting, do you want me 2 separate presentations then, or just, I don't know if this is an Oscar question or not. Can I do 1 presentation with 2 different ordinance votes, or do you want 2 separate full presentation kind of things?
It's up to how the council wants to.
I just want to
if
know
they're
how to prepare
comfortable
for
with
it.
We can.
2?
I think one is, what'd you say?
Yeah.
One?
I think 1.
2? 2? Okay, I just want to know how to prepare that, so thank you.
Alicia. Knock it off, Rob.
Okay.
I loved your presentation with the maps. I think it's much more clear instead of just reading something and we're trying to envision it. I think that was really good, actually.
Thank you, Amy. Okay, Paul, do you have anything to report tonight?
No, nothing tonight. Thank you.
No. Only thing I have is I'm looking forward to this next coming weekend, Oktoberfest, and all the events happening downtown. Looks like we also have Holman Recovery Center, the Freedom Bridge groundbreaking ceremony on Saturday as well. Looking forward to that. With that, is any comments or reports from the council members? Oh, Michelle?
I did a ride-along with Officer Megan Kidd and ended up at a career event at the high school with Rory. But it was really wonderful driving around with her, and she's really smart, and she's good, and she's crazy passionate and positive. So if you want to go with somebody that's really positive and just happy, she's a great person. But it was a good time. I was out with her for a few hours.
Okay, good. Anybody else? Okay, none seen. Do we have any members of the public that would like to comment tonight? Okay, none seen there. The consent agenda. Let's leave, I don't know, but number 1 on the consent, leave the rest. Yep. Okay, all good with that? Okay, sounds good. And I think that's it. We're ready for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you all.